She was tricked into choosing a violent horse, Midnight Widow, an animal so dangerous it once threw a proritider into the ICU and was permanently banned for suspected fatal attacks. No one warned her. They wanted her to fall. They wanted to capture footage of her panic and turn it into the next joke among the elite. But 15 minutes later, that same horse bowed its head before her while the entire field fell silent. And her billionaire boyfriend stood on the podium and declared, "Anyone who touches her is an enemy of the Rosenthal family." Rosenthal Royal Polo Grounds was a palace of privilege. Its emerald fields stretching beneath a California sky so blue it looked painted. Grandstands rose like marble thrones, draped in silk banners that fluttered in the breeze, each embroidered with the Rosenthal crest. The air was thick with the scent of fresh-cut grass and wealth. Every guest a walking testament to power. This wasn't just a polo match. It was a coronation for the elite, billionaires, diplomats, and their diamond-encrusted heirs. Crystal flutes clinked with Dom Perignon, and bespoke suits rustled beside gowns that cost more than most homes. The crowd glittered under the sun, their sunglasses hiding eyes sharp with judgment. Beyond the velvet ropes, paparazzi drones buzzed, barred from entry, while a live stream broadcast the event to those who couldn't buy the $10,000 tickets. Among them stood Arya Bloom's father, a retired cavalryman, his weathered hands clutching a phone, his eyes fixed on his daughter's image. Arya stepped onto the grounds beside Damen Rosenthal, the 26-year-old heir to the $150 billion Rosenthal empire. Her white tennis dress was simple, sleeveless, hugging her slender frame with quiet grace. Her chestnut hair was woven into a side-bee braid, a few strands dancing free, and a mini bunny ear hat perched on her head, a playful touch she'd chosen because it made her smile. At 22, Arya was striking, not in the polished way of the elite, but in the raw beauty of someone who'd grown up taming horses under her father's watchful eye. Raised on a Wyoming ranch, she'd learned to ride before she could read. Her hands steady on reins, her heart synced to hoof-beat-ats. Her hazel eyes held warmth and steel, but to the crowd she was a misfit, her bunny ears a sin against their opulence. The grandstands erupted in whispers as Damen's words sank in, each murmur a dagger aimed at Arya's worth. A tech heiress in a diamond choker leaned forward, her voice sharp. "She's not Rosenthal material," she said loud enough for the live stream. "What's Damien thinking dragging in a nobody with bunny ears?" Her friends nodded, their gowns rustling, one adding, "She's a gold digger in a thrift store dress leeching off his name." Phones flashed, zooming in on Arya's simple attire, captions forming, "Hated to unworthy bloom." A polo captain nearby scoffed, "She'll ruin his legacy. No class, no pedigree." Arya stood beside Damien, her fingers brushing her braid, her face serene, but her hazel eyes flickering with buried fire. Her father's live stream feed showed his hands trembling, the elite's cruelty, a public execution of his daughter's love. The audience's anger simmered, their hearts with Arya, outraged at the assault on her dignity. Damen Rosenthal stood at the edge of the polo field, his navy suit catching the sunlight, his presence a quiet command that hushed the grandstands. He took Arya's hand, her white dress glowing beside him, and faced the crowd, his voice steady but warm. "This is Arya Bloom, my girlfriend," he said, his obsidian eyes daring anyone to challenge her place. "She's here because she belongs, because I choose her." The elite froze, their champagne flutes pausing mid-air, their whispers a low hiss. A woman in sapphires muttered, "Her with him?" loud enough for the live stream to catch. Arya's bunny ears tilted slightly, her hazel eyes meeting Damien's with a private smile, but the crowd's disbelief was a living thing, their judgment a weight on her shoulders. Her father, watching from the live stream, clenched his phone, pride and pain warring in his chest. The audience's hearts stirred, sensing the storm brewing, their loyalty already with Arya's quiet strength. Damien, tall and lean with dark hair swept back and eyes like polished obsidian, was a force in a tailored navy suit. His family's empire spanned real estate, tech, and energy, and his presence commanded the field like a king. He introduced Arya as his girlfriend, his voice warm but firm, his hand resting lightly on her back. The crowd froze, their whispers of venomous tide. Her hissed a woman in emeralds, her voice carrying to the live stream. She looks like she wandered off a petting zoo. Arya's fingers brushed her dress, her face serene, but the air crackled with disdain. Damien's jaw tightened, but he stayed silent. His trust in Arya, a quiet shield. The elite saw weakness, a chance to strike, and they didn't hold back. Amelia Rosenthal, Damien's cousin, sat astride a sleek polo pony, her riding gear studded with Swarovski crystals. She scanned Arya from head to toe, her lip curling. "This is a racetrack, not an anime cosplay," she called, loud enough for the grandstands to hear. "Maybe scoot back to the kiddie carnival, sweetheart." Laughter erupted, sharp and cruel, as phones lit up, filming Arya's bunny ears. Amelia's pony snorted, mirroring her scorn, and the crowd leaned in, their glee a public execution. Arya's hands remained still, her hazel eyes meeting Amelia's, steady, but with a pulse visible at her throat. Her father's face on the live stream crumpled, the insult a knife to his pride, and the audience seethed, their anger of fire waiting to ignite. Vivian Hales to a luxury brand empire stood nearby, her crimson gown, a $50,000 masterpiece. She'd chased Damien for years, her unreturned affection a bitter thorn. She lowered her sunglasses, her laugh a blade. "Who's the one with the bunny ears? Is she the gum commercial mascot?" she said, her voice dripping venom amplified by the live stream mic. The crowd roared, their phones flashing, captions forming, had bunny flop. Vivian's friends, a clique of couture-clad Erices, giggled, one tossing a champagne cork at Arya's feet. "Pick it up, mascot," she taunted. Arya stepped over it, her face calm, her silence a fortress against their cruelty. The audience's rage surged, their hearts breaking for her dignity. Damon's friends, a group of Ivy League heirs in tailored blazers, murmured among themselves, their voices carrying to the livream. "You really brought a mascot to a polo match?" one said loud enough for Arya to hear. "Or are you filming TikToks now?" Another, a spoiled heir named Preston Tate, added, "Can she even ride a horse or just Damien's affection?" The laughter swelled, a chorus of scorn, each word a stone hurled at Arya's heart. Damien's eyes darkened, but he handed Arya a silver tag, his voice gentle. "Just ride the African dwarf pony. Safe, no competitions. I don't want you getting hurt." Arya nodded, her fingers closing around the tag, but her hazel eyes burned with something unspoken. The crowd's mockery was a storm, and she was its quiet center. The grandstands buzzed as Arya approached the stables, her bunny ears a target for their stares. A group of polo players, their boots polished to a mirror shine, leaned against a fence, their whispers cutting like glass. "She's a charity case," one sneered loud enough for the live stream. "Damn slumming it for clout." Another tossed a crumpled program at her feet, calling, "Clean that up, bunny girl." The paper skidded across the dirt, grazing her sneakers, but Arya didn't pause. Her steps were even. Her face serene, but the audience outside, her father's audience, felt each insult like a physical blow. His hands shook, tears glinting, but he didn't look away from the screen. Arya was his daughter, his pride, and they were tearing her apart for sport. As Arya walked toward the stables, the elite scorn turned into a choreographed assault. A group of Erices, their diamonds glinting, formed a semicircle, their voices a chorus of malice. "Look at her thinking she's Damien's equal." One sneered, tossing a rose petal at Arya's feet. "Back to the petting zoo, Bunny." Another flicked a silk fan, shouting, "She's a walking joke. Bet she's never even seen a horse." Phones lit up, their live stream posts vicious. Had Bunny crash with zoomed-in shots of her bunny ears. A man in a bespoke suit called out, "Damn slumming it for pity points." The crowd laughed, their glee a public crucifixion. Each word a lash against Arya's silence. Her father's face on the live stream was a study in agony. Each taunt a blow to his daughter's pride. Arya's steps remained steady, her white dress a beacon of defiance. But the audience's rage peaked, their hearts pounding, desperate for this cruelty to end. Vivian stood near the stables, her crimson gown catching the sun, her voice ringing out. "Let's give her a round of applause for trying," she called, clapping slowly, mockingly. The crowd joined in, the sound hollow, a parody of respect. "Maybe she can ride at the county fair next," she added, her smile venomous. The laughter swelled, phones flashing as guests recorded Arya's walk, their captions already forming. "Bunny Girl fails." Arya's silhouette shrank against the stable's shadow, her white dress a stark contrast to the glittering crowd. She was alone, exposed, her presence a joke to those who'd never known struggle. The audience's anger burned their hearts with Arya, willing her to fight back. Vivian Hale seized the moment Arya reached the stable doors, her crimson gown a spotlight of malice. "This is why we don't mix with strays," she declared, her voice a whip cracking through the crowd. "Arya, you're a stain on Damien's name. Your bunny ears belong in a costume shop, not Rosenthal's world." She gestured at the live stream screen, knowing Arya's father was watching. "Go join him in obscurity where you both belong." The crowd cheered, their applause a mockery of Arya's pain. Phones recording her every step. "No one wants you here," Vivian added, her smile venomous. Arya's hands clenched the silver tag, her hazel eyes burning with silent resolve, but her face remained calm. Her father's sobs echoed through the live stream, the crowd's cruelty, a public execution of her dreams. The audience's fury roared, their hearts breaking, willing Arya to endure this final, crushing blow. Damon stepped away for a call from the Rosenthal board, his absence a crack in Arya's armor. Amelia and Vivian seized the moment, their eyes glinting with malice. Arya, holding her silver tag, approached the stablemaster to choose Stormy Velvet, a pure white stallion known for its calm obedience. But Amelia, with a sly nod to Vivian, swapped the nameplates in a heartbeat. The stablemaster, unaware, led Arya to Midnight Widow, a towering black beast with eyes like burning coals. Its reputation a dark legend, once banned for throwing a rider into the ICU, rumored to have killed another. It was a monster no one dared ride. Arya climbed onto its back, believing it was Stormy Velvet, her bunny ears tilting as she adjusted her grip. The crowd hushed, sensing a trap, their phones raised to capture her fall. Vivian leaned against a post, her voice a whip. "Wait, no one's going to say anything?" She sneered loud enough for the live stream. "If you actually understood how the elite talk, you wouldn't be walking around in bunny ears now, would you?" Amelia laughed, her pony prancing, and added, "She's about to learn her place on the ground." The crowd's murmurs grew, a mix of amusement and cruelty. Preston Tate shouted, "Bet she doesn't last 10 seconds." Phones flashed, framing Arya's white dress against Midnight Widow's black hide, their captions ready. Mascot's last ride. Arya's hands tightened on the reins, her hazel eyes burning like wildfire, but she said nothing. Her father's face on the live stream was a mask of fear. The trap, a public execution of her dreams. Arya turned to the crowd, her voice clear and steady, cutting through their laughter like a blade. "If I can't control this horse and I lose, I'll break up with Damien," she said, her words a public wager that silenced the field. "But if I tame it and win, you'll shut up. every single one of you, and never speak of our relationship again." The arena exploded in mocking laughter. The crowd scorned a tidal wave. "Midnight Widow was infamous, a beast that made trainers flinch." "She's delusional," Vivian cried, clapping her hands. Amelia smirked, her pony sidestepping. "Good luck, bunny girl," she taunted. The live stream comments surged. "She's done." R.I.P. Arya's braids swayed, her bunny ears steady, her silence louder than their jeers. The audience's hearts pounded, their anger at the trap, a pulse in their veins. The race began, a silent gauntlet with no official start. Just Arya and Midnight Widow against the elite's expectations. The horse screamed, rearing so high its hooves slashed the air, its black coat gleaming like oil. The crowd gasped, phones raised, ready for her to crash. Arya's hands were iron on the reins, her body low, her breath sink to the beast's fury. She'd grown up breaking colts on her father's ranch, her legs strong from years of gripping wild horses, her heart steady from his lessons. Fear is just a shadow, ride through it. Midnight Widow thrashed, its hooves pounding the turf, tearing clumps of earth. Arya held firm, her white dress a beacon against its black hide, her bunny ears defying the chaos. The audience leaned closer, their rage turning to hope, sensing something extraordinary. Lap 1 was a battlefield. Midnight Widow bolted, veering toward the fence, its eyes wild with defiance. Bets flew. $10,000, $50,000. That Arya wouldn't survive. "She's gone!" Preston shouted, his voice gleeful. Vivian's laugh was a shard of glass, her sunglasses reflecting Arya's struggle. The horse bucked, a violent twist that should have thrown her. But Arya leaned into it, her thighs clamped, her hands coaxing the reins with a rhythm only she knew. The crowd's laughter faded, their phones trembling as Arya forced Midnight Widow into a gallop, her braid whipping behind her. The live stream comments shifted. Is she holding on? No way. Her father's hands clenched, his pride a quiet fire as Arya turned the beast's rage into speed. Lap 2 was a revelation. Midnight Widow surged forward, its hooves a thunder that shook the ground, but Arya was its master now. She leaned low, her body a line of grace, guiding the horse through the turn with a flick of her wrist. The field stretched before her. Other riders, Amelia on her crystal-studded pony, a pro on a $12 million Spanish, and falling behind. Arya's bunny ears caught the wind, a quiet rebellion against the elite's scorn. The crowd's murmurs died, their phones lowering, their bets unraveling. Vivian's sunglasses slipped, her smirk gone. Amelia's pony faltered, its rider pale as Arya overtook her. Midnight Widow's stride a symphony of power. The live stream exploded. She's leading. This is unreal. The audience's hearts raced, their anger now awe. Arya's skill a blade carving her name into the field. The final lap was a reckoning. Midnight Widow flew, its black coat gleaming, its fury now a weapon in Arya's hands. She wove through the pack, her eyes locked on the finish, her body one with the horse. The Andalusian's rider pushed hard, his horse a blur of muscle, but Arya was untouchable. She leaned forward, her braid a comet's tail, her bunny ears a crown. The crowd was silent. Their earlier scorn. A ghost, their phones forgotten. Amelia's face twisted, her pony left in the dust. Vivian clutched her flute, her crimson gown a fading ember. Arya crossed the line. Midnight Widow slowing to a trot, its head bowing to her will. The field was a tomb. The silent soul crushing as Arya dismounted, her white dress pristine, her victory complete. The audience roared, their hearts soaring, her triumph a blaze that burned away their cruelty. Daman returned, his face pale with rage, the live stream footage replaying on his phone. He'd seen the wager, the trap, the moment Midnight Widow nearly threw her. He'd watched her swallow every insult. Mascot, bunny girl, unworthy since she'd arrived. He climbed the podium, his tie falling to the ground, his eyes like ice-cut steel. "I used to think silence was enough to protect her," he said, his voice a gavel strike broadcast to the grandstands. "But today I've realized in this world of elites, kindness is a punchline." He turned to Amelia, Vivian, and his friends, his gaze a blade. "Amelia, as of this moment, you're permanently banned from competing under the Rosenthal name." Amelia gasped, her pony Sidus stepping her crystals dull under the sun. He faced Vivian, his voice colder. "Vivian, I'm withdrawing all Rosenthal investment from your family's parent brand." Vivian's flute shattered on the ground, her face ashen, her empire crumbling. "And for the rest of you," he said, scanning Preston and the murmuring friends, "if you dare comment again on who's worthy of me, go check your family stock portfolios and see whose name signs your dividends." The crowd froze, their earlier bravado dust. Damien stepped off the podium, his eyes softening as he reached Arya. He wrapped her in his arms, his voice low, meant only for her. "You never had to bet anything. You already won the moment you walked in here as yourself and never bowed your head to anyone." The field was stone, the elite humbled, their silence a canvas for Arya's victory. Damien's voice rose again from the podium, his rage a controlled fire that scorched the elite. "This wasn't just mockery. It was a conspiracy," he said, his eyes pinning Amelia and Vivian. "I have stable logs, witness statements, and footage proving you swapped the nameplates to endanger Arya." He held up his phone, its screen glowing with evidence. "Amelia, your ban extends to all Rosenthal properties. Your trust fund is under review." Amelia's face drained, her pony forgotten, her status crumbling. "Vivian, your brand's collapse is just the start. Expect lawsuits for defamation." Vivian's knees buckled, her gown pooling as she sank. "Preston, your family's contracts with us terminated," Damien continued, his gaze sweeping the guilty. The crowd gasped, the accused shrinking, their empires trembling. Arya stood tall, her bunny ears a quiet crown, her victory sealed by Damien's power. The audience cheered, their hearts soaring as justice struck like lightning. Arya stood motionless, her hazel eyes shining, her bunny ears a quiet defiance. The live stream captured their embrace, comments flooding. "She's a legend. Had Bunny Queen." Preston slunk to the grandstands, his blazer no shield against the whispers. She owned them. Amelia dismounted, her ban a public scar, her cousins avoiding her gaze. Vivian's gown caught on a chair as she fled, her heels clicking in defeat, her brand stock already tanking. The friends who'd mocked Arya's riding scattered, their portfolios trembling under Damien's threat. The field's hierarchy shifted, its gates opening wider, its heart reshaped by a girl in a white dress who'd tamed a beast and silenced them all. The polo grounds shifted, the elite scorn replaced by awe as Arya stood beside Damien, her white dress glowing under the sun. A young rider, previously silent, approached, her voice trembling. "I was wrong to stay quiet," she said, her eyes on Arya. "You're what this field should honor." Others nodded, their applause swelling, a tide of respect that drowned their past cruelty. The live stream captured the change, comments flooding. "She's a queen at Arya inspires." Even the polo captain who'd mocked her pedigree clapped, his face red with shame, his earlier words dust.